Okay, I'm on the Street Fighter V2. The dash is exactly the same as what you get in the Hypermotard. This one does not have fuel gauge. I wish they have put the dash, which is coming on the Monster or the Monstrous P on this model, which comes with the fuel gauge. The instrument cluster is very familiar for the Ducati users. I'm not going to talk about that, but if there is somebody who is viewing this particular video on how to operate and navigate through the instrument cluster and the dash and the settings and everything else, please check out the link in the description on how to navigate through it. Fully adjustable Showa forks. Mirror looks like it is lifted from the Monster. The Monster shares the same mirror as the Street Fighter V2. What else? Steering damper comes in as standard. Whew. This is quite a handful in my opinion. This one is a Super Quattro V2 engine. This one has a horsepower of 153 horsepower, and the Tesla Strata engine produces somewhere close to 114 horsepower. So because there is no wind protection on this one, the wind buffeting is there, but because you lean forward into it, you don't really feel the wind buffeting that much. But when I'm riding this motorcycle for the first time, I felt like it's quite a handful. I can really feel the power difference between both the motorcycles, which is Hypermotard about 114 horsepower and this one about 153 horsepower. Let me focus on these corners. This one will get you in trouble in the road, for sure. Maybe because of the speed which I'm going, I don't really feel any heat at all. But if you're slow moving in the traffic and the signals, it could be different. Yeah, I really cannot bring out the best in this motorcycle on the road, and if I tend to do that, I'm going to put myself and other road users in trouble. So this is nothing but the naked version of the Panigale V2. Has got the Super Quattro L-twin engine. The engine, what it is on this one, is not a Tesla Strata L-twin engine, which comes on the Ducati Monster, Hypermotard, Desert X, Multistrada V2, and so on and so forth. This one kicks in about 153 horsepower compared to the Tesla Strata engine, which gives about 114 horsepower. It's quite a handful on the street. The only place we can bring it to life is on the track. Oh my god, the kick shifter is butter smooth. It's perfect. I have no complaints whatsoever. The shocks and the forks are kept on the harder side, but this is fully adjustable. You can adjust it to your liking. There is no challenges whatsoever, and you lean forward on this motorcycle, because of which even if there is no wind protection in the front, you feel okay. So I'm pretty sure in the track it will be okay too. This, I think, can be compared along with the other middleweight naked which I rode recently, which is the Monster SP, even though the power figures are very different. It is a perfect motorcycle in my opinion for the track. It's quite a handful on the road depending upon how you ride. Can you ride it slow? Yeah, you can ride it slow, but you don't need to buy a Ducati streetfighter V2 to ride it slow, would you? Holds in the line perfectly okay. The show off works. That's the job. Yeah, the exhaust sounds good too. It does not have a Terminani slip-on or exhaust, which is the standard exhaust on this one, but even with that, the exhaust note is excellent. I like this motorcycle. I guess every other motorcycle which I tend to ride, I tend to like it. I'm not going to buy, well, I don't have deep pockets to buy all of it, but I was really looking forward for a track-based motorcycle. The Triumph Speed Triple have about 180 horsepower. I'm not really sure whether I need any more horsepower on a naked motorcycle than this one. This one is plenty in my opinion. 153 horsepower, and how it produces the power, I don't think I need more horsepower. Can you control it at the maximum performance of this motorcycle? That's the biggest question. If you can control it, yeah, you don't really need any more horsepower than 150 on the track. This is plenty as far as I'm concerned. Well, I'm not an expert. Yeah, the Brembo brakes is okay, but the one with the Styloma calipers which I got in the Monster SP was better. Yeah, I could say that now after riding it for an hour. The Styloma calipers offer a lot more bite. Yeah, if you put Brembo Styloma calipers on this one, the price on this one is going to go up again. Right now the 2024 model goes out for 125,000 ringgit. That is quite a lot, and for that money you can find quite a lot of alternatives in the market. But man, this one, the riding experience what you get on a Street Fighter is different, and it's thrilling, and it gets you into trouble on the road if you're not really careful. The handlebars, I think maybe it's a tiny bit wider than the Monster, but I think this establishes a perfect balance between a wider handlebar of the Hypermotard and a more narrower handlebar of the Ducati Monster. So yeah, I want to take a moment to thank the Ducati Kualalumpur sales team for letting me borrow the Street Fighter V2 and do a test ride on this one. Matter of fact, I have been bothering them for the past 3-4 weeks to get a test ride. The moment I get to know that the V2 Streetfighter is available for the test ride, after waiting for close to 3 weeks or maybe a month, I got to ride the Streetfighter V2, and I can say that it's worth the wait. This is definitely worth the wait, and it's a handful if you're not really careful. Verdict: does it make a worthy successor for the previous Streetfighter 848? Oh hell yeah. And I'm pretty sure that the Streetfighter V4 will make a worthy successor for the Streetfighter 1098. Will I buy it? If I have 120,000 ringgit lying around, probably yeah. But is this a priority? Not really. So back to Ducati Kuala-Lumpur. Okay, today we are with the Ducati Streetfighter V2. Has got the Joker face. I really like that. The only disadvantage on this one is that there is no wind protection. But because the riding position on this motorcycle is more lean forward, makes the wind buffeting a lot more lesser. It's absolutely okay in my opinion. In the front, it has got the Brembo M432 caliper. It's got 320mm twin disc and it got the lightweight alloy wheels. So the radiator kind of covers the most part behind the front wheel, and it's absolutely okay and looks really similar to what it is on the Streetfighter V4. Not exactly the same, but similar. It's got the dash, which is really identical to what comes in the Ducati Hypermotard. It's a 4.3-inch color TFT dash. The dash which comes on the Monster or the Monster SP, which comes with the fuel gauge. This one does not really have fuel gauge. The instrument cluster is really similar to all the Ducati models like the Monster, the Hypermotard, the Ducati Scrambler. So it's absolutely okay. I'm not going to talk much in detail about how to navigate through the riding modes and whatnot. I have videos in my channel and I'll put those links in the description, so if you want to check that. The mirrors seems to be lifted from the Monster, or the Monster shares the same mirrors as in the Streetfighter V2. It got fully adjustable show-off forks in the front, and you can see those are the fully adjustable show-off forks in the front. In the rear, it's got a Sachs monoshock, and again it's also fully adjustable. The engine on this one is not a Tesla Strata L-twin engine. Engine on this one is a Super Quattro L-twin engine, what it shares with the Ducati Panigale V2. This is nothing but the Ducati Panigale without the fairings. It's got a slightly detuned engine. This engine produces 153 horsepower at 10,750 RPM and 74 pound-foot of torque at around 9,000 RPM. The power figures are a lot more on this particular engine compared to the Tesla Strata L-twin engine. And here you can see the Sachs monoshock, and you can see the quick shifter. The quick shifter comes in as standard on the Streetfighter V2. Single swing arm at the back. In the rear, it's got a 245mm Brembo 2-piston floating calipers. The exhaust is really close to the footrest, but after riding this for close to an hour, I did not really feel any heat coming from this one, probably because I'm wearing a riding boot. But if you're on this motorcycle, you got to have all the riding gear. It's quite a handful on the road. Streetfighter V2 has a wet weight of 200 kilograms and it's got a dry weight of 178 kilograms. The fuel tank on the Ducati Streetfighter V2, it's a 17-liter fuel tank, compared to the Hypermotard, which I have. I think it's close to 15-liter fuel tank. The tire it comes along is the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4. The Panigale comes with Pirelli Diablo Rosso Corsa 2. So the tire on both the motorcycles are really different, but I think this tire is okay as far as the motorcycle is concerned. So the steering damper comes in as standard. As a standard Ducati fashion, you can select the sport or the road or the wet among all of these riding modes. You got ABS, you got traction control, you got wheelie control, engine brake control, and the Ducati quick shifter. So everything is standard on most of the Ducati models. I'm not going to talk more about that. This makes a worthy successor for the previous Ducati Streetfighter 848. This is not a hyper naked where compare this motorcycle to the hyper naked. When I'm talking about hyper naked, the Kawasaki H2 and Ducati streetfighter V4, all of them are the hyper naked. So at the 200 horsepower category, let's call it as a hyper naked. 150 horsepower naked bikes, let's call it as a middleweight naked. So the competition on this one, what I can think of it, I think the Honda CB 1000R the MG-01, and from the Kawasaki, one which comes close is the Z900. The Z900 does not really produce 150 horsepower. That's somewhere around 120 horsepower. But yeah, man, it's a different animal altogether. For the thrill and the joy of the ride, different league compared to all the motorcycles which I have ridden so far. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. Signing off.